Really? What fight was up?
Wade knocked out Asparov, but man, what a
Ooh.
fight!
Jeez. All right, I'll have to run that one back. All right, 1 second. All right, guys, Joe McDonough here, back with mymmanews.com. I'm joined by Mr. Tim Elliott. Tim, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. And you've got one coming up. We'll get into that in a second. But first thing I want to talk about is this weekend, a big fight in your division. UFC 263. What are your thoughts about this? Who do you think brings it home? I mean, obviously the first one was spectacular. Do we get to see something as fun as the first one? What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I said this a bunch of times. Right when I got out of the Ultimate Fighter, I told my dad, like the first person I called, I was like, "Hey, man, the Brandon Moreno kid, he's going to be world champion one day." I said that then. I still believe that today. I think that Brandon is getting better. He just moved from Tijuana to Vegas, so I think his training is gonna be enhanced a little more. It's gonna be updated a little more, making his weight cuts a little bit easier. So I think Brandon's gonna be better in this fight, and I think Figueiredo has kind of hit his peak where he's at there. He's really good. Don't get me wrong, but I think Brandon is still climbing, still getting better. So I'm gonna go with Brandon Moreno.
And what was it that, like you said, you called your father right after TUF. What was it about Moreno that really stood out to you?
Well, so he was the 16th seed on my season of the Ultimate Fighter, and he fought Pantoja the very first fight. And those guys, I mean, they beat the hell out of each other. And I'm looking around like, there's no way I can fight 4 fights like this in 4 weeks. No fucking way. So Brandon ended up losing a close decision, and I suck him out right away to train with because he wasn't going to be fighting anymore. He was already beat. Yeah. So as soon as he healed up, I kind of gravitated toward him and used him as my main training guy for the rest of the show. And I think the whole time, like I was out there, I maybe submitted him one time, and I mean, I don't know how many times he got me, but I just remember thinking like, God, this kid is going to be something special. So it's no surprise to me that he is where he's at, and man, I couldn't be more excited for the guy.
Absolutely, and it's gonna be a fun one. And for you, it's been a busy 2021 already. Already 2 appearances, should have been 3. Was this part of the plan, and is the plan to continue this busy year?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm running out of time. I'm 35 years old. I've been in the UFC since 2012. I'm just now making a decent paycheck to where I can do this to where I'm supporting my family, and I'm just enjoying the ride right now. I'm getting good matchups. Every other time that I fought, like my first fight in the UFC, I fought John Dodson. He was the number 1 guy in the world. I took that on short notice, and that put me in the top tier. So I fought all top tier guys, and then when they fired me, I came back and won the Ultimate Fighter. My first fight back was Demetrius Johnson, so I was all top tier guys again.
Yep.
Now I'm kind of put into a lower category. I'm not a top tier guy. I don't want to say I'm not a top tier guy anymore.
I'd say you're a top tier guy still.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I'm not fighting 1, 2, 3 right now. I'm getting to fight guys. Finally, I'm getting to fight guys that aren't the top 3 guys in the world. And, they're still good guys. Everybody that's left in the division right now they pretty much got rid of – there's not an easy fight in this division right now. And trust me, I've looked. They're just not – they're not out there. Yeah, it's a good time right now, though, for the flyweight division. It couldn't be a better time.
And I ask every flyweight this because it's just such a cool story. I mean, I don't know, what was it, 3 years ago at this point when the storyline was the flyweights are gone. Dana White's cutting the division, all this stuff. So like you just said, I mean, we're having a title fight this weekend. I mean, the first one was one of the best fights we've ever seen. Like you said, there's no easy matchups. There's such a plethora of talent in the division. To talk to me about kind of the roster of 3 years ago or whatever the timeline was to now.
I mean, there's always been good guys, but I think we started out with a small division. There was only a few. There was a few amount of guys that people recognized, or a few amount of guys that people wanted to see. And then they were going to get rid of the division, and then TJ Dillashaw went down, and Henry Cejudo beat Demetrius Johnson, and all these crazy things happened that just kind of elevated the division. And then we had Figueiredo become the champion, and then him and Brandon Moreno's fight has got a bunch of eyes on it. Like, people are starting to notice the flyweights now because of these young guys that are coming in now. And Demetrius Johnson being beaten was a big thing to help the division. Like, that sounds like a shitty thing to say, but it was just kind of stagnant. And granted, I think he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
it just kind of stagnated the division. And then whenever the hands changed a little bit, it just created some excitement. And now it's a young roster, and it's a roster full of killers. They pretty much cut everybody that any of the loose weight. And right now there's just a bunch of dynamic guys. And I think the title could change a few different times. It's really interesting right now.
Mm-hmm. And I completely agree with what you said about DJ. Is it almost has that Amanda Nunes featherweight-esque right now. It's just like every title fight that comes up, you just kind of say, I think she should win. She should win. There's not a lot of excitement with it. That being said, obviously DJ, one of the best ever, Amanda Nunes, one of the best ever. So you had said that you're kind of getting to pick opponents that aren't the number one guy or number two guy in the world. Why was this opponent someone that you really liked, and why? What about this matchup?
I did. They called me. Somebody hit me up for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even hear anymore. James Krause and my manager take care of it. Like, I don't want to know. I don't.
Yeah.
If James thinks that it's a good fight, he says yes. Whatever. They don't call me anymore because they know I'm just going to say yes to whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing with the division right now is there's no room to say no. Like, you can't really turn down fights. You got to take what you can get. There's not a lot of opportunities, and if you turn one down, then the next guy's going to jump on it, and the UFC will leave you behind if you're not an active guy and you're not willing to to fight when they want you to fight and make weight when they want you to make weight. Then they'll get rid of you. And that's one of the good things with where I'm at right now is they know no matter what, I'm going to show up, I'm going to make weight, I'm going to be a professional, I'm going to fight hard, win or lose. They're not going to have to worry about me getting in trouble or acting up or anything like that. So put me in a good spot, even though I've been a little inconsistent. That was the one thing I was lacking. And now I have a consistent training schedule and, diet and all that. Everything is just kind of falling into place right now.
Mm-hmm. And every time we talk to him, we have to bring up the great James Krause. I see, the pretty cool Glory shirt right there. I've been eyeing that. That's awesome. With James, when I spoke with James a couple of times, one of the most interesting things that he had said, everything he says is interesting, but one of the most interesting things was with his fighters. He doesn't like to focus on matchups. He likes to get like peak Tim Elliott, peak Tim Elliott. That version is going to show up on June 26th. Not so much, okay, this fighter likes to do X, Y, or Z. Let's game plan around that. It's more of a let's game plan for the peak Tim Elliott. Is that the same thing going into this camp?
Yeah, and it works so well for me, that type of coaching. On the other hand, was like when I was training for Figueiredo, one of the things I worked on was like not shooting a blast double head outside. That's not even really my shot, but it was one of those things like we knew he had a good guillotine, and it was as soon as I got in the mix, I think it was one of those things where I trained like worrying about not doing that. It was all I was thinking about. So right away, whenever punches started flying, I shot a bad double leg and I got caught in a guillotine, which isn't even my shot normally. I'm usually a single leg run the pipe kind of guy. So I don't want to focus on not doing something or worry. I'm not smart enough to worry about what my opponent's going to be doing or what he's good at. I can only focus on like my stuff. I'm so one track minded, and if that one track can be just listen to what James says, I'll let him do all the legwork and I'll just, take orders. I'm a soldier. If I have somebody I trust yelling at me, like I feel pretty confident that I'm going to do well. I don't have a ton of skill set, but one thing I do have is like, I can take orders and I can listen. And especially if I trust my corner and with James, that trust is there. Like, and he always thinks I'm going to win. Like I've been down in fights, and like, I can just tell talking to him, like he thinks I'm going to win. As long as there's still time left, he thinks that I'm going to win. And, that makes me think I'm going to win. Yeah.
And Tim, you've been selling yourself short this whole interview. You're one of the best flyweights in the world. All right. But talk to me, obviously you were in the tough house. Have you watched any of this this season that just came out? I know 2 episodes in, a New England guy over here, Mitch Raposo, just fought. Have you watched any of it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to catching up on it though. I'm a fan of the Ultimate Fighter and the Contender Series. I like any other outlets that are, bringing some legitimate and TV time to the sport. I think is a good thing.
Absolutely, man. Last one for me here, Tim. Prediction for fight night. What are we expecting here?
For my fight?
Yep.
Man, I'm Khabibing guys now. I'm getting the smoke of James Krause when I first got here. He made me go back and watch the Lewis Smoka fight, and we counted 12 takedowns. I took Lewis down 12 times, and 12 times I took him down, and I jumped on a front headlock, and I lost the position. So I took him down 12 times, and I lost the position 12 times. That's like having 12 turnovers. Like that's not a good stat. So My goal now is I'm getting one takedown a round, and I'm going to rough guys up. I'm going Khabib style. My last fight, I didn't get hit one time. I took no damage. Like I got cut on top of my head, which is fine.
Yeah.
So I'm getting older now. I'm not going out. I'm not going to go out inconsistent. I'm going to put a streak together and focus on my main skill set. And like James is really, that's the one thing that we do here and that makes this camp so special is like we have systems in play, like ways to win, like how to get myself to the best chances of me winning. And like everything we do is to get myself to that position. And like now that I have systems and everything is organized, like I always had the skills, but it's just been like one good thing over here and one good thing over here. And there was no base, and like the shit would get tall, but it would crumble before it could get, to where it really needed to be. And right now that base is there. And, I'm excited to get to the peak of that where I could really open up and kind of mix my two styles together. But no, I'm going to take Sue down. I'm going to rough him up for 3 rounds.
You heard it here first. Tim Elliott, June 26th, is going to Khabib style Sue over there. Tim, thank you for the time, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.